All right, Rippers. Today we're going to continue the breakdown of the top 5 everyday use survival situation SHTF selections that we made in the number 1 video, right? Right. Okay. As you know, we were on number 4, which was a defensive or offensive handgun. So that being said, you guys all know that my pick was the FNP Tactical and 45 ACP. The first reason is 45 ACP. It's a round that's been around for a while. You can find it, shoots a nice heavy bullet with a nice heavy kinetic energy. And as you can see, we've cleared our firearm. And what's nice about this is it has good quality magazines, carries 15 rounds. You can probably put an extended base pad on there and carry a couple more rounds. Very handy to have. When you buy one of these, it comes with like 3 of these magazines plus the one in it or something like that. So that being said, this is a great option. It has a flared mag well, so it's easy to load in and out. Polymer grip module here, we'll call it, with all the insides where all your fire and trigger groups are, and your rails, those are all steel in an insert that fits in there really well. Helps keep this gun a little bit lighter because it does have a slide that's made out of stainless steel so that you don't have to worry about it rusting as much. Especially in heavy use. It does make the pistol a little bit heavier, but that's okay because they lighten it up by putting the polymer type lower on it. Now, some of the features of it is it has an ambidextrous magazine release. You can push it with your finger here and take the magazine out, or you can push it with your thumb and drop the magazine out. So you can see it's on both sides. That's handy. Also on both sides is the safety. You can turn it on or off on either side. So this is all set up. You can grab it whether you're right or left-handed. The only thing is it does eject right-handed. It has a slide lock, slide release on both sides, as you can see here. Just push that down and the slide goes down. As you can see, it has a threaded barrel. Nice thing about the threaded barrel is you can put a suppressor on it, and there's a lot of positive things to be said about having a suppressor, whether it's to keep stealthy, to help protect your hearing. They're very handy to have if you can get one. Now, some other options on this pistol is, as you can see here, it has a decocker if you push down on the safety. Nice thing about a decocker is after you've had it out in use, if you want to return it to the holster, you can decock it and put it into your holster. And it's still ready to go. Now people say, well, how is that? Because the hammer's not back. Well, it's not a single action, it's a double single. So you can just take and squeeze the trigger, and you can see the hammer will come back and it'll fire, which means the gun will cycle. Oops. And now it's in single action. Now it's just a light let up and a light trigger pull to fire. The gun does it again. Let up, light trigger pull. And it's got a very nice trigger on it. So another reason I love this firearm. It is a little bit big. It's like a full size, and it is big, has a wider grip. So some people with smaller hands, it might not fit so well. But having this extra weight and size helps you, giving you a longer sight radius, so helps in accuracy. It also helps with the recoil. Some other features to this firearm is it has an accessory rail on the front. I always like to put weapon lights and lasers on the front of my firearms. I think they come in handy. That way you don't have to hold the flashlight, and you can turn them on or off, and you can adjust it to if it's just the light, just the laser, etc. Then they have smaller models too. This is an old one. It's a TLR2. I've had this for quite a while. They make smaller models like the TLR4 and the TLR8, TLR6. There's a lot of things out there that have improved since then, but this is what was on there when I got it. So that being said, or when I purchased it, I put on there, I should say. Another thing is it has an MOS cut for an optic. Now optics, they do have a place. I know in a past video I said they were kind of a fad, but what I really meant, and I misspoke, so I can say that and admit to it, I misspoke. They have a purpose in a specific place, I believe. That's my opinion. I think they're more apt or more apropos for full-size firearms, heavily ported firearms, competition firearms, rifles, shotguns, and full-size weapons like this. Because there's a lot of things that could be disadvantages if the light doesn't work, if you can't handle recoil as much and you're always hunting for the dot. It takes some getting used to. But once you do, yes, they are fast and they are accurate. However, if this dot doesn't work, I've put suppressor height sights on here so I can not only see through the window and still see my night sights, in which I have night sights on here that glow at night. So if this isn't working, I can use those as well and not have to take time to take this light off. That being said, the higher sights allow me to see over my suppressor. Now, when shooting without a suppressor, it's really not a hindrance in my opinion. I don't find myself searching for the front sight or anything like that. That's all about doing your practice and doing your dry fire practice at home. Get your muscle memory set to where it's just like with the dot. You have to practice to get used to not hunting for the dot. It isn't something that just comes naturally. Practice is something that's always necessary. So there's a lot of features about this that I like that makes it a great firearm. It is a little on the pricey side. When I got this one, it was $1,000. Since then, you know, I probably wouldn't get another one because of the price. However, and they're probably a lot more now. However, it is really the best thought out firearm, I think, that has been produced as far as pistols go in a full-size offensive and defensive type pistol. So I'm going to give you some other options to think about. One would be this one. This is a Sig P320. It's the carry model, so it's a little shorter, about 3/4 of an inch or so shorter than the full-size model. It is set up so you could put an optic on it as well. It has night sights, which I think are a necessity on something you're going to actually use for self-defense or for offensive situations. It doesn't have a safety because it is a striker fire and doesn't need one. If you don't pull the trigger, this will not go off. It has a ambidextrous safety in the sense that you can switch which side you want it to be on. I have it set for left-handed because I push with my finger most of the time. But some people like it where their thumb is, and that's where it originally comes. This does have a pretty decent trigger. As you can see, we're clear. It's a little spongy, and I'm not the only one who says so. And then when you let off, it has a little longer reset than the other pistol, and then it fires again. It doesn't have the double action feature because it doesn't need it. It's just ready to go. You can carry this chambered and ready to go. It does have a chamber indicator where you can feel right here. The other one had this too, and I didn't mention it, but when there is a round in here, this will be sticking out. So at night, you can feel right here and know that you have a round in the chamber and the status of the gun. I also have the TLR4 on here, which is another light laser on the front. This is also like the other one. It has a polymer grip module. These are really customizable. That was the reason Sig came out with it. You can get all different kinds of grip modules out there and put your trigger group and whatnot in it and put the slide on it and change this to fit you perfectly. You can get flared mag wells, all kinds of stuff, custom triggers, a little speed pedal over here to rest your thumb on. There's all kinds of fun you can do. But this is another option. These are around $700, maybe a little bit more now to purchase. This is what I use in my bump in the night on my nightstand firearm. Now, another option. Now, this is my everyday carry gun, so it kind of is more in the carry category, which we'll do a video on that in the future, but the reason I'm doing it is because this is the P360 Sig P360 P365. This is the P320 P365, a tongue twister, huh? XL, so it's a little bit longer. It's about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch longer than the short model. And the reason I got this one is because I think this fits better for the best of all worlds. It's a little bit longer, so I have a little bit more sight radius for accuracy, and it is a little less flippy than the shorter model, and it carries 12 rounds in a standard magazine and 15 rounds in an extended magazine, and the extended magazine doesn't stick much more out the bottom, so it's still carryable. You can still switch the safety or the magazine release to either side, so you can make it sort of ambidextrous. It has a great trigger, which I'll show you here. You just like that, and a little bit like that. It's not spongy, it's quick, reset. This is a great pistol. It has a flared mag well, so it's easy to get your mags in stressful situations. It has night sights on it, so you can see at night. It has the option to put an optic on it, but I just don't feel the need for an optic here when I can do just fine with the iron sights or the fixed sights, however you want to say it, on there. It's stainless steel as well, just coated. It is a great firearm. I put the TLR6, which you can see is a nice molded anti-snag light laser. It gives me just enough light at night to see with if I need it. And it's the perfect size, I think, to carry and use as a main offensive. I mean, if you needed something to fit all roles, this is really it. If you're not looking for a specific role, this will fit all your needs if you had to just buy one, okay? So that being said, I know people are always going to say out there a revolver is the way to go, and I don't disagree in a lot of cases. With a revolver, the only big drawback is it only has 5 rounds. But that's why you can carry these. These are speed loaders. You stick them in, you twist the knob on the top, it drops the shells into the chamber, and then you close it up. The thing about a revolver is it's simple. Everybody can use it. No safeties. Has double action or single action. So you can be accurate or you can just be at short range pulling the trigger. There's a lot of great positives about a revolver. This is a little snub-nosed Ladysmith Model 36 Smith & Wesson. I like the little rosewood grips. It fits really well. It's easy to control. It does have a pretty snappy recoil, so if you're somebody that doesn't deal with recoil very well, it may not be the option for you. But a lot of reasons why this is a good one for beginners or people with strength issues is because a lot of people have a hard time these days pulling slides back and getting them to chamber, especially in the smaller guns, because the smaller they get, the heavier the spring tends to get. And that's why Smith & Wesson came out with the EZ models, which we'll go over in another video. I think they're brilliant. But we're talking about these right now. This is something that is durable. You could stick in a pocket. You could really count on in a bad situation. You know what I mean? So I really like the revolvers as well. So that's an option right there. 38. Now that's the caliber this holds, is a 38 special. It's not a plus P model, so the recoil isn't terrible. The sights aren't something you're going to shoot long range with. This isn't meant for hunting or shooting further with. This is meant for up close and personal, although with practice you can make some pretty long shots with it. It is it really is something to have to carry or for a backup or something like that. But, it is a great option for a lot of people. So that being said, you could get this in a 357 model and be able to shoot plus P and 357, but you don't have to. You could shoot 38s in it. Now, I don't know if it's the Model 36 that's that model, but I do know they make these small revolvers in 357 and 38 plus P variants. So, but you're going to have more recoil with that, and a lot of times those are ported, and there's a lot of things about porting that people don't think about, like the noise is going to kind of deafen your ears in a situational aspect. So there's something to think about there. Now, you guys all know that I think everybody should have a 22, and that was the #1 spot on our top 5. And that goes for handguns as well. I think something that people should have is a 22. This is one of my favorites. This is the Taurus TX22. It's a 16 round. It only has a magazine release on one side, but it's a 16 round magazine that actually works. It's reliable. I haven't had any jams with this, and I've put thousands of rounds through it. It does have a safety if you want to use it. It's a striker fire, so you don't need to, but this allows you to simulate with the safety off, practice with a Glock, and that's why I love 22s, is you can practice and practice and practice for a lot less money, and I think that's important. I think it's critical if you're going to use a firearm, is you have to get your practice in. Now, I know it's not going to be the same recoil, but it's still going to be closer than anything else as far as practice for the price. You can have the safety up and being used, and to mimic things like M&Ps and Smith & Wessons and other things that have safeties on them, or they have the safety options that people get. It has one slide stop on it, and it has a rail on it, so you could put a light on it. It also has a threaded barrel, and the great thing about the threaded barrel is you can put a suppressor on it. And with a suppressor, a 22 is a very useful tool. It's very quiet. You can get it as quiet as a pellet gun. So that is very, very, very important when you don't want to draw attention to yourself. And this would be my pick because it feels like a full-size firearm. It feels like a Glock or a Shield or, you know, anything that looks like this. I mean, it just kind of generally looks like that. And it's not expensive. The handgun, when these came out, were like $279. So that's a great option. Now, another option is a little bit smaller like this. And with that new ammo at 1,700 feet per second, these are becoming more valid for use in a other than plinking roll, if you know what I mean. This is the Walther P22. It has ambidextrous magazine release, but it's weird. It's different. It pivots down on both sides to release the magazine. It has a double single action on it. It also has a safety that's a little backwards from most. It does have a slide lock on one side. It has a rail on it so you can mount. You can see I have a Crimson Trace Rail Pro on here. And it has a threaded barrel and a can. The nice thing, or a suppressor, the nice thing about a suppressor is with subsonic ammo, they make a real heavy subsonic ammo, a 60 grain bullet, that it really makes little to no sound hardly at all. And then even shooting the supersonic stuff, and I haven't shot the 1,700 feet per second ammo through it, but we're going to. But it'll even quiet all that down quite a bit. And that, in a situation where you may not be wearing ear protection at the time, is a game changer. Because if you've ever shot a handgun without hearing protection on, you know it can turn your ears off for just a little bit. So this is a great option, I believe, as well. Now, I know we talked about the threaded barrel on the FN before. This is a Glock Model 21 in 45 ACP. It does have a fat grip, so some people with small grip or small hands have a hard time grabbing it. It does have one-sided magazine release, and it has a magazine that holds 13 rounds. You can probably get a 15-rounder or more also for it. There's not a whole lot to say about a Glock. It is a Glock. It has no safeties. It's very simple. It's a lot like a revolver, but it's a striker fire. You just pick it up, pull the trigger, and it won't go off unless you pull the trigger, right? Has a rail on it, so you can put a light laser on there. It's a great option. And you can see here I put suppressor sight heights again, or suppressor height sights on here, as well as night sights, so I can see at night and I can see over my suppressor. That's important for making accurate shots. There's not a lot to go wrong with a Glock. They haven't changed much. They haven't done much since they've been made, and they always seem to work. It's a very robust and reliable platform. So for the 45 ACP, I think it's great. And the plus with 45 ACP, especially suppressed, is that you can shoot a full power load and it's still subsonic, which means you can be shooting full power ammo and still being able to make it quiet, and you don't have to shoot a subsonic ammo. So there's a big plus there, because you're hitting with the full kinetic energy as if you didn't have a suppressor on it. So I think you guys can all see the advantages to that. I hope that this helps you make some of the choices that you need to make, ask some of the questions that you need to ask, and even share some of the knowledge and comments that you want to in the comment section, because I can tell you this, so far from what I've seen in the comment section, we've got a whole lot of people out there that know a whole lot about firearms, and some that are learning that don't. And that's the point of all this. The point of all of this is to get people out shooting, get them knowledgeable, get them out having fun, get them out practicing, and get them out carrying, right? Because we need to protect our rights to have these sort of things and to go out and have fun doing it, and take the stigma away from it, right? Knowledge is power. So that being said, you guys be sure to be safe, be secure, always be aware of your surroundings, and if you have it, carry it if you can, and be getting ready and prepared for anything that may come your way. Until next time, keep doing the things. Adios.